Hello. I'm hello, everybody. It's Belen Diaz, and this is the E-volve show. And I hope you guys are enjoying all the interview series. Today, we have another great speaker with us. She is a coach for visionary women, and her name is Maria Aleandra. Maria Aleandra is a coach, content creator, and a podcast host who guides visionary female entrepreneurs and change makers through a combination of strategic and intuitive coaching. Hi, Maria Alejandra. How are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. How are you today, Belen? It's so nice to be here.
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here and thank you for your time.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe would you like to start telling the audience what do you do for work? What is your company about? A little bit
Sure.
about it.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. So yeah, my name is Maria Aleandra. You can call me MA as well, and I'm a mindset coach, speaker. I have a podcast that I share with my husband. I'm a mom, a wife, and I really believe in helping women step into their power by using a methodology of really tapping into our mindset, our magic, and momentum. And with those three sort of key ingredients of how we approach our lives and our businesses, I think so many incredible things can happen. And that's how I live my life. It's how I coach and how I guide other women. I really believe in supporting visionary women who are either entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, other coaches, other leaders and change makers who are really shifting the way they live their life and want to step into a different space of possibility. And maybe they're not quite sure how to get there, but with the right support and the right encouragement and the right tools, they can absolutely move their lives in new ways that they didn't expect before. So that really thrills me. And I'm the founder of a an online community called Rock Your Life, and Rock Your Life is a space where I share a lot of tools and inspiration and things to really get this kind of woman motivated and really creating incredible things. And then along with that community, I also have a variety of different coaching programs under the Rock Your Life umbrella that are really aimed to to get you really tapping into your truth, into your power, your authenticity, while stepping into momentum and taking inspired action for what you want to create. So I work with a lot of women that come with an idea of something that they're ready to kind of birth into the world, and again, maybe they're not quite sure how to make that happen, or they're lacking in confidence, or they've been in that space where they've been procrastinating or stuck in perfectionism, or something's holding them back. And so I work very strategically and also very intuitively. I really believe in tapping into your
Mhm.
divine feminine, your divine wisdom, to move into spaces that feel a little bit more unknown, but it's actually like where the really incredible ideas and inspiration and motivation can come from. So
Nice.
that's that's what I do in a nutshell. Yeah, it's
That's
fun. It's
great.
really
But
rewarding.
I have a question. When you say I work with visionary women, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I love that. So to me, a visionary individual, and in my case, a visionary woman is she's someone who really believes in the possibility of creating something new. She can sort of see beyond what's already created. And maybe she doesn't know quite the how, but she knows that there's something more for her to tap into and for us collectively to tap into. So she's someone who kind of has her, she has this idea of something else possible beyond her current reality, her current experience. She's a woman who makes a choice to live her life by design rather than by default. So she's really consciously creating her experience, not being a victim to circumstances, not just kind of going with the flow, but she understands that she has a big part to play in how she leads her life. She is someone who is a creatrix. She understands that she has a power to make incredible things happen.
Mhm.
And she's also someone, to me, a visionary woman is someone who's really mindful of the impact that she has on the world. She has a desire to do good things. She has a desire to support her light in favor of her family, of her community, of the world, of really growing collectively and helping other women rise. So I it's incredible because on my journey I've met so many of these incredible visionary women. I think we all are. And there's some of us that just have this like extra sort of ingredient of like just this
Magic.
ambition. Yes, yes, yes. And so it's a privilege to be able to support whoever has that in them, whoever resonates with that, to
Mm.
really like bring it to life in a way that feels very tangible and not just like it stays in your journals. We can write a lot of things in our journals and they never come true. So I'm all about like how do we make that magic really come true and spark it into
Happen.
life.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
that was another thing that I saw on your website when you say mindset, magic, and momentum. So I
Yes.
love that because it's like you just have to start doing and stop thinking, you know? Like for me, I remember one time in my life, I felt so stuck. And I was like, I didn't know I was stuck, you know? But I was like, thinking all day, thinking and writing what do I want, who I am, you know, like all these I guess personal growth, but more like about thinking about it. But I think it's so important to mention to the audience, it's not just enough about thinking, you have to get action and start doing as soon as possible. And in the
Yeah.
moment you start doing, then things start moving in your way. So do you
Yes.
want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, first I'll say, Belen, that you're totally speaking like how I felt the same for years, for a period of years. And I worked in a corporate setting for many years. And I always had this feeling of like there was something more, there was some untapped potential, like untapped freedom. And I remember writing it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And yet when it came into momentum to create something, I would get paralyzed. And there's a whole host of reasons why I think driven women like us get like stuck and paralyzed. And as I began to really move in favor of what I knew to be true, even if I didn't understand how to make it happen, I knew that I could start in creation, like get something in motion. The more I realized that power of momentum, then it builds on itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard at first to get it going. It's hard at first to find that rhythm of creation and momentum. But when you have your eye on your vision and then you actually begin taking inspired action, which is one little step after the next, then
Totally.
all of a sudden you begin to collect evidence of what you're capable of. You begin to realize, oh wow, I could do that, and oh, I can do that, and then I can do this other thing. And so that kind of takes a life of its own. And so now I always say momentum is magic. Like momentum is that fuel that will actually bring your dreams to fruition and your goals to life. And so the key is, how do we find ourselves in a space of being grounded? And that's, I think, where a lot of when I say mindset, magic, and momentum, it's like mindset is that space of, okay, how are you interacting with the world? How are you responding rather than reacting? Like, what are you thinking about yourself, about the opportunities around you? What's the story you're telling yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And then the magic piece is really tapping into that intuition, into that inner knowing, into the unique gifts that only you have. And then momentum is that spark of like, okay, let's get something going. And what I find a lot of times, and you'll probably resonate with this too, is like we have all these ideas of what we want to do, and then we're waiting for the moment when it's all kind of like perfect in our head, or we don't say something or launch something until
That
it's like
doesn't
just
happen.
it's like in a perfect little box. And one of the other reasons why I really love this concept of finding that momentum, and I talk about it with my clients and the people I interact with all the time, is because it allows you to be a beginner. It allows you to be open to messing up, to just get the thing going. And that's then when you realize the truth of what you really want to do, because sometimes we have an idea,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get it going, you get it in motion, and then you're like, oh wow, this is now shifting and evolving into something else. But you wouldn't have known that, you wouldn't have had that information unless you actually stepped into action, right?
Totally. Yeah.
So I Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Like
No,
I
no,
was
go ahead.
gonna
Go ahead.
say, for me, like I had a person who, in that moment when I was like just thinking and thinking, this person took me and he was like, I'm tired of you not doing. Like, so he was like, you have to select three things and start doing this because it was about job and all that. I was like, okay, I'm applying to three different jobs and then we'll
Uh-huh.
figure it out.
Yes.
And somehow what you're saying, like once that you start doing, I was like, okay, this one I don't like it, next, or this is more interesting, and thing after thing you start putting things together. So I think it's so valuable what you're
Yeah.
saying. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's critical. It's critical. And then we realize again like how capable we are. And and you're like, oh, wow, okay. So give yourself the chance, the opportunity to step into momentum, which is actually a really courageous act because it requires you to also go into uncharted territory, especially when you're creating something brand new. And again, if you're a visionary woman, you are by default always kind of in creation of something new because your system sort of calls you forth in that space. You're always looking for that new way to shift what we're currently experiencing. So if you ever have that sense of like, wow, there must be a better way to do this, or there must be a better way to think about this, then hello, you're a visionary. You're like us, like we see you. And so stepping into like having the courage to go, okay, well, how can I take that first step, that very tiny first step, and then take another and then take another, um, and realize that you're going to be met with fear and procrastination and the perfectionism, and you're going to be met with all these like seeming obstacles in the way. So when you're aware of them and then you can understand them a little bit deeper, then you can begin to shift the way you feel and your relationship to them. So then you actually build like this resilience and this muscle of, okay, what's possible now and what's possible now, and knowing that you always have a choice. So that even when you feel paralyzed by like multiple options or whatever it might be, you're like, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm only overwhelmed if I choose to be. So it's like, okay, well, I have a choice to look at what's possible right now and then choose to, like you said, like step in and make something happen so that you can move through that first, like, and then it starts to flow. Then it starts to flow. Yeah.
Totally. And then actually with that like action, it builds confidence too, right?
Yes.
Like how
Yes.
you start feeling better about what you're doing, feeling better about yourself, and it's like
Mhm.
all comes
Big time. Big
moving.
Yeah, I believe that um, confidence is a measure of how much you trust yourself. So we typically lack confidence because we don't trust in what we're capable of. We are so capable. We're so powerful. We have everything we need, right? But we also have all these stories of that keep us kind of held back. So we think we're not confident, and it's really a measure of not trusting ourselves. So when you actually begin to create and you begin to trust in like, oh, look, things are happening, then like you said, that totally builds your confidence because then you begin to see yourself the way that you truly are, which is fully capable, fully resilient, fully empowered to make anything you want happen. But again, it takes that it's we should never look at it like, oh, all of a sudden I've got to snap my fingers and now I'm confident, because it takes looking at why you're not trusting yourself, like why you may be procrastinating on the things you really want to make happen. Yesterday, actually, I recorded a video for this in my Facebook group, and I was talking about how procrastination is like there's two sides of the story. Procrastination is like a safety mechanism because it's keeping us from expanding into something new, something unknown and uncharted. And our system goes like, no, like that's new, that's not
Yeah.
safe, right? So there's that side of the story and being aware of that, like, oh, okay, that's probably why I'm procrastinating. And then also the other side of the coin is, okay, well, how can I support myself to actually move forward, even though I may feel that way, and not to make myself feel guilty or beat myself up about it or tell myself that, see, there I go again, I didn't do the thing I wanted to do, because
Yeah.
then we actually cause resistance. And so with the resistance, we're not really creating, we're like avoiding something. So I find this to me is a fascinating subject because it's kind of at the core of why so many visionary, ambitious, driven women hold themselves back and fall into these traps of you know what, I really want to do this. I really know I can create this. And yet we don't move forward. And like you, I was stuck in that for a long time. And the freedom I found on the other side of actually doing the things I said I wanted to do and I had in my heart is incredible, because then all of a sudden you're like, wow, you're speaking your truth. You're building the business that you wanted to build. You have the relationship you wanted to have, whatever it is that's in your heart. But it takes that like willingness to go there. And if you need support, find the support to go there so that you can then keep building on it and find more freedom and more joy on the other side than what you're experiencing now, which is probably constriction of like, oh my God, I wish I did this, but it's not happening, whatever it is that you want to do. I was there for so long. And I remember just going to bed at night, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to make this thing happen? And I had no clue. And then little by little, it started to take shape. And now, I've been able to build things that before I didn't know where to begin, but it was like little bit by little bit. And then all of a sudden, oh, okay. Now I'm doing all these things that I wanted to do before. So it's a testament to why that mindset magic and momentum really does work.
Yeah, totally. And I want to say to all of you who are watching the video, as you say, like I was stuck, Maria Alejandra was stuck, like we all have been there in some point. So it's just up to you to start moving forward. And you don't have to do it alone. There is people like her who does coaching. So please find the support, because people who are teaching these things can bring you where you want to be much faster than if you're just at home waiting for something to happen, because there's people with experience and all this knowledge that it can help you, and also gives you the community, as you were mentioned about your uh,
Yeah.
women's group.
Yeah, rock your life. Yeah, no, it's I mean, and you're also on the same path, Belen. It's like that's why I was so excited to participate in this series, because it's so important to create that space of supporting each other, empowering each other, guiding each other. I'll tell you very honestly that if I was in that stuck place for a long time, and once I decided to actually, I hired a coach. I started to become more intentional. I was always into self development, but there was a moment, there was a click in me that said, no, now I don't want to do this alone anymore. Like I want someone else to kind of have my back. And in that moment, it was a felt like a risky decision. And then things really started to shift for me, because all of a sudden it wasn't so much like I was spinning the wheels in my head, like just all by myself, like that spaghetti of thoughts and ideas. I had somebody to help me like clarify it, to help me piece a strategy together of how to step forward, how to show up, how to, understand the things that were holding me back. And that moment was so, so, so pivotal and such a big reason why I really believe in what I do, because there's always someone a few steps ahead that has figured out the next like phase of your journey and can help you see it. And like you said, way faster than if you just go at it alone. And at first, if you can't hire a coach, because at first I didn't hire a coach, but I said, okay, well, who can I find that I can like, I called them my, it was like virtual teachers. And I started joining different groups, and I started really, learning from certain key people in my life, other coaches, other authors, that helped me understand and see what was possible. So there's so many resources out there for those of us, but really having that intention of knowing that there's like a defining moment. And it might be when you're watching this beautiful series that Belen has created. It's like a before and after kind of moment. I remember the same. I watched one of these series and I was like, wait a minute, like something clicked that said, there's something, what you want is possible. It's so available to you. Just keep believing in it, and keep like expanding into that new version that's being like birthed. Because here's the thing too, it's like if you find yourself in a space where you're stuck, you're constricted, it's probably because there's something new that wants to be birthed through you. There's a new idea, there's a next level of how you show up in the world, and an evolution of who you are. And because we resist it, because we're kind of afraid of like what that looks like, the success it might bring, the freedom it might bring. We're so conditioned to believe in certain things since we were very little, and even from way back from the past, that can bring some resistance and make you feel even more stuck and almost like nobody's going to understand me. Or then what if I start doing this thing I really want to do and people think I'm crazy, people think I'm like, she's gone bonkers, because we all were on that in that moment, right, where it's like, oh wow, I've been doing this for so many years, I want to do this other thing. What are they going to say? Like, I remember thinking that so strongly. And now I look back and I go, oh my God, if I had kept listening to that voice that was always like, what are they going to say? They're going to think you're nuts. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now today, which just thrills me. And I wouldn't be connecting with the incredible women I get to connect on a daily basis. And it all came from that place of, okay, no. I'm willing to see things differently. I'm willing to go in and step in, even if I'm afraid, even if I'm like doubting, even if whatever, I believe there's something else. And so whoever out there is feeling that, just keep that light of belief and take that moment to really decide that you want to step into momentum for something greater, so that you can build what you want to create and see the results on the other side. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And then something like, since you work a lot with women,
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, like, sometimes that a moment of that you're afraid to do something new or things like that, in reality sometimes it's because we don't believe in ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
that's where we start like thinking all these voices, like, what are they gonna think, I'm not good enough. So have you seen in your clients or the women that you work with, like, is that, no, I'm not gonna say a problem, but something that we all deal with it? Or like, what would be your tip for the audience to feel more confident to start doing?
Yes. Yes. I think that's a huge one that like I don't it's almost like the common themes are, I don't think I can do this. I don't know if this, I don't know if I can do this. It's like a worth conversation. Like, I don't know if I'm worthy of really doing this. There's another common one of like, well, other people are already doing this. So why would what do I have to bring to the table? Which is also a worth conversation, like a confidence thing. There's the, what are they going to say? What are other people going to say? Which is also a confidence conversation, because then you're not speaking, you're not activating your own truth. You're basically making decisions based on what others think about you, which all comes from their own side, their own history, their own story. And so and that, like, that sense of, it's like this burning. Oh, and the other one that I come across a lot is, I have so many ideas and I don't know which one to focus on. And so we end up, and I was the same for a while, fragmenting my energy. We end up fragmenting our energy instead of focusing in on one thing that can really move us forward. So my tip for really building your confidence, I think, is understanding, like I said earlier, that your confidence is a measure of how much you trust yourself. So sometimes it starts with something as simple as, you know, the classic, let's say you decided that you were going to wake up a little bit earlier every day, right? And every day that goes by, you kind of snooze the alarm and you don't wake up early, you don't start the morning routine you've been wanting to start, or you say you're going to work out or do yoga or whatever it is, and you don't follow through for yourself. I think one of the fastest ways to build trust in ourselves, and this is something I work on all the time myself. I'm by no means a pro at this, but I've become so much more aware because I see the difference it has in me and my clients and other people. It's that when you say you're going to do something for yourself, to follow through on it, to show yourself that you can trust yourself. Because then what that does is it gives your system this sense of really feeling empowered, really feeling like you're not a victim to other circumstances. You're not a victim to the clock, the time, other things that might come across. You prioritize what's important to you. So maybe start with picking just one thing that you said you wanted to do that you really take to heart. And in that moment, in that choice point, because we always have that moment of deciding, do I do this thing or not? Ask yourself, like, okay, what does my vision want from me? Even if you're not super clear on, like, a vision isn't something that's like, oh, this is exactly what, like, that's more of a goal. A goal is like, okay, an exact sort of measure of success. To me, a vision is how you aspire to live your life, who you aspire to serve, how you want to show up in the world. So we all have a vision of this something, even if it feels fuzzy, that we want to do. So in those choice points, think about, what does your vision want from you? What does your vision call you forth into? Are you making your decisions from a place of that vision or from a place of circumstance? And so really tap in and ask yourself in that moment, okay, what am I choosing right now? If it's, I want to get up a little bit earlier, that's a simple one. And I've struggled with that a lot. And then in the mornings, I set the alarm. And if I want to snooze it, I ask myself, okay, what does my vision call me forth right now? Like, what is it calling me into? And
Mm-hmm.
so in that moment, you can kind of like, okay, yes, I get to carve the space out for me for whatever it is that I need in this moment. And so building that trust with yourself, I think, is so, so, so pivotal. And also, a big one that built your confidence, and you touched upon it earlier in terms of community, is I believe that when we are when we want to birth something new, there's like 3 levels of how it like is birthed in the world. The first one is that you dig up the courage to articulate it, to say it to yourself, like to really say out loud the thing that you want to do. The second layer is to articulate it within a safe space. So that could be a coach, that could be a community, a support group of some sort, so that you can begin to share what's in your heart, and you can begin to see that you're not alone, you're not the only one. Um, and doing that in a space of possibility is really powerful, because then you're like, wow, I'm speaking with other people that see the same thing. Oh my gosh. And that helps you realize that you do have a powerful truth within you, that you're not making it up. It's not some sort of like fantasy that you're having. And then the third level is to articulate it to a broader group of people. And that's sort of that's the more courageous step forward of, saying, okay, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm up to. Um, but really starting with that space of trusting yourself and beginning to clearly articulate to you and to someone who you trust, that can hold you in possibility. I think a really beautiful way is to raise that energetic vibration of confidence, so that you can go, oh wow, okay, yes, like, so much more is possible. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect, it doesn't mean you have to get it all right. On the contrary, I think confidence is actually the beautiful act of getting super messy and being willing to fail and fall flat on your face and whatever it takes in favor of your vision. That's what it ultimately comes down to, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good, all what you were telling us. And
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, Maria Alejandra has a very special gift for all of you. So if you wanna tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. I think you're gonna love this one. So I just created this recently, and I actually used it today myself. It's something I use. I call it the checklist, and the whole purpose of the checklist is to really support you to realign and like shift your energy in a moment's notice. So it's a very quick tool. So in the link, you'll have a download. You can either print it out and put it somewhere, or you can look at it, like keep it as a picture on your phone. And what it does is it takes you through 3 steps of mindset, magic, and momentum. And it
Oh,
has a couple of each one has an affirmation tied to it. And then it guides you. And this is something you can do in literally 5 minutes. Like, this is very quick, probably even less than 5 minutes. But it helps you to center again, like shift your mindset, to tap into your magic, and then step into momentum, like that. And this morning, I was going through a hard time because I was feeling unfocused. I was feeling like I was kind of emotionally caught in something that, I'm going through. And it was one of those moments when I was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, the checklist.
let's
So
take the checklist.
yes, let me check the checklist. So and I did, and I wanted to bring it up because it's something that really is incredibly useful. And I think that all of you guys watching it are really going to love it, because it immediately helps bring you back into the center of who you are, and shift your attention from whatever has been keeping you stuck or constricted, or kind of like, when we're like walking through mud and we're like, I don't know what else, I don't know what to do next.
Mhm.
This will support you. So I'm really excited to share it with you guys. And I have some other freebies and things on my website, so you could totally check them out. But this one, I think, is going to be it's going to be really good for you.
That's
Yeah.
great. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and we'll have all your information in the email as well as the video, so you guys can contact her for whatever questions or anything that you have. So Maria Alejandra, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure, Belen. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks to all you guys for watching, and I definitely hope that we connect. Send me a message. And Belen, thank you for creating the space and for the work that you do. Because the moment that you sent me the email saying if I'd be interested in this, I immediately felt like, oh yeah, she's playing my game of possibility and magic. So I think what you're doing is beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you so much for your words. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.